Hi guys, and welcome back to Brooklyn, where it's a frigid day in January 2022, and my husband Sean and I have just been given notice that our new Irish windows have left the shipyard and are going to arrive in Brooklyn next week. So we have a few final decisions to make about their placement.
What do you mention? Oh, how high the windows are?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't forget to subscribe if you're into seeing how a 140-year-old townhouse gets taken back to the studs for a gut renovation. You can see where the old wood window is and how the new metal frame shows where the new window will be placed.
Those are the centered windows, right? You can see the frames, but they don't really match up with the existing windows. The old windows used to go up to that there. You can see in the old wood framing here, right? Where the brick is.
The crew moves in to make sure everything is laser perfect, and then they firm up the framing and they begin insulating and prepping for the drywall. After the crew wraps for the day, Sean and I can get a real sense of what the windows are going to look like in the space and how much of the street we'll see, which is a lot, and we love it.
You can see some sky. You can look right down onto the top of the awning.
Our architect has the windows at 1 foot 6 inches off the floor, and our ceiling's over 10 feet tall, so we're liking how this feels. The hustle and bustle starts very early here in Williamsburg, and this morning the guys are finishing framing and insulating the 3 living room windows on the front of the house. To keep the cold out, they even put back in the old smaller window temporarily until the new one arrives in a few days. A few hours later, and the wall is sheetrocked and the guys are ready to move on. We're adding 2 new windows here on the side of the house that faces our driveway. That'll bring light into the middle of the house, even though next year there'll be another building just 7 feet away. I didn't realize it, but the way they do it is to cover the entire surface with new drywall, and then, using a laser to get it perfect, they mark out the location of the window, making sure the bottom of the window is at 1 foot 6 inches off the ground, just like on the plans. Once it's marked, they begin cutting away to reveal the old wall beneath it. And what they find between the studs is the original brickwork that was used to strengthen, fireproof, and insulate the house back in 1881 when it was built. Then that reveals the original exterior wood siding that's been hidden for the last 100 years under layers of additional siding. They drill a starter hole through to the outside and begin cutting away everything they don't need. This tall window will look out across the 7-foot driveway to another building eventually, so the light won't ever be this bright again, but for now, we're loving this. As they cut through all the many layers of the siding, let's take a look at what we can see in here. This is the stud that held the bricks between it, and here you can see the original wood siding, covered by 2 layers of asbestos shingle, which are hard to see, but the red one is from 1930 and the green one is from 1960s. Then this wide, messy section here is 1 layer of insulation and a gray vinyl siding from the 1990s. Oh, and that's Jonathan. This 3/4 inch plywood is the new layer we're putting on top of all that. And on top of the plywood will be 2 inches of insulation and a layer of stucco. Yeah, there are a lot of layers on this cake. Once they've got a clean edge, Hector and Jonathan begin creating a secure frame around the opening that will house the new window. They've got the specs for the Kleerwall Windows, so they know exactly how much clearance they need when measuring out the frame. And within a few hours, they finish the opening and have it sealed up with plastic and are moving on. Staying on this same floor, they begin working on the rear of the house, where we have our back door and dining room window that have been covered with sheetrock for the last few months, keeping out the cold from this unheated house. Once the drywall openings are cut, you can see that they had already prepped the wood frames when this new section was built in the warmer months. So these are ready for the windows to arrive tomorrow. Next to the front door on the street are the 2 living room windows in our ground floor rental apartment. These two windows will remain the exact same size as the original openings. First, we begin by filling in any openings next to the brick with insulation. You can see that the window frames here are all cleaned up and ready. Now the drywall goes on top, right over the window openings. Then, using their laser to keep everything plumb and level, they just cut out the openings. We've rented this ground floor apartment out on Airbnb and VRBO for over a decade. We call it the garden apartment because it comes with a little garden out front with the red chairs, and our guests love hanging out there and checking out the street. With these last two openings, we're done and ready for the windows to arrive. They're supposed to arrive at the shipyard today and get to us by tomorrow or the next day. We've been waiting a long time for this.
Our wonderful windows are coming from Ireland, and we've got an email saying, oh, we won't be coming today because we packed the wrong windows in the container ship and sent it all across the Atlantic to New York, and it's not yours that we packed somebody else's. All we've heard for the last 4 weeks, it's been about 5 weeks since then actually, is that they're coming, and any day now they'll be coming because we've got these big gaping holes waiting for our new windows.
Their email says that our windows are still in Ireland and will go on the very next container ship and arrive in another 5 weeks. It was a simple clerical error, they say. Yeah. So anyway, instead of installing the windows today, we'll give you a bit of a tour. And then we'll skip forward in time. How about that?
So this is the bedroom level. This is the top floor of our building.
And that X is where Sean's standing, right in our central stair hallway, outside the 3 bedrooms.
And this is the foyer on this floor, between the 3 bedrooms, the laundry and a bathroom and linen press, and the stairs, new stairs, that take us to the roof garden.
That has to be built yet.
So where this yellow thing is, there'll be a step, another step, another step, a landing, and then a new stairway going up from the landing underneath that new window there, a new stairway going up here to the roof. Yeah, look at the light shining through them right now. I mean,
Oh yeah, we're talking about, we want to have...
it shines right down into the living
we're
room.
going to have open treads in our staircase so that the light from this window can go through there.
And look at it.
So all this area here, right, coming through here.
Light will be coming through all.
Yes.
Let me show you what's going up here on the roof so far. The membrane roofing has been completed. And back where I just climbed up is our bulkhead. That's the name for it. And we're going to have a skylight in that spot soon. Be very bright in there.
Oh look, you can see our stucco. They've put the first coat of stucco on.
The second coat's another concrete layer with a deep dark green color that's going to go on all the walls up here. It's called Rockwood Shutter Green. We're going to have an Ipe wood deck up here one day. It'll have 2 levels, plenty of built-in seating with a propane fire pit, and a shaded dining area in the middle. One day. For the moment, it's still a bit of a work in progress that's got us worried about leaks.
And you can see we're not flashed along that entire side of the house.
Which means it leaks when it rains in our new house, in the walls.
Yeah. So we have to, because it's winter, we're trying to keep the water out until it's warm enough to finish the roof. And the roof means we have to flash that section. So everywhere along that section it leaks.
We've suffered through 2 hurricanes during this renovation, so we're dying to get this house watertight once the weather warms up a bit. On the way down, Sean makes some good use of the temporary beam the crew put in place to be able to access the really high stairwell there. One day it'll be gone and we'll have to do our chin-ups somewhere else.
That's our tour right now. Windows next, or so they say.
16 windows finally arriving just off the ship from Ireland. We chose Kleerwall triple pane windows for their incredible energy efficiency and noise blocking. They're actually an Irish company called Munster Joinery over there. These windows are rated for a passive house, which is a level of how energy efficient they are. And they're less expensive than the brands like Marvin and Andersen are here. Oh, there's our street cat. She's lived outside on our block for at least 6 or 7 years and has plenty of people giving her food and cuddles. She's incredibly friendly and she seems to like her life outside, no matter the weather. This is one of our 2 biggest windows. They both go upstairs on the back side of the house in our 2nd and 3rd bedrooms. The moment they're unloaded and the truck's gone, the crew begins working on the parlor windows. Our front 6 windows are 7 feet tall by 3 feet wide. 5 weeks ago, the guys left some areas that need attention just before installing the windows today, cutting away the many layers of siding so the opening is clean right through. Finally ripping out the 1980s vinyl windows that have been here since we bought the place. This is actually our very first time getting to see what the living room view will be out our bigger window openings, and I'm very happy with that. Thank you for your service, you rickety old windows we held together with caulk and hope, waiting for today. While the insides of the window frames have been built out, you can still see some of the original 1881 wood siding that's seeing sunlight for the first time since being covered up in 1920. Our next door neighbor Luigi approves. All of this outside area will be cleaned up when we do the siding, but for now we just need to clear the path for the windows and get some spray insulation in all the cracks. And then it's time to carry these beasts upstairs. And they're heavy. And our first staircase is tight. The 6 big windows on the front of our house are about 7 feet tall by 3 feet wide. Each one gets stripped of its packing material. Then they attach these metal fingers on the sides to keep them from falling out onto the street when they lift them into place. Hector straps in, and they begin. They work to position it perfectly within the frame so that it's not only square and plumb, but also how far forward or backwards in the frame it should be. And once it's in place, they fasten it in. And it's done. They move on to the middle window, then the window by the fireplace. Back downstairs in the rental, they have to do some reorganizing since we've been using this as a staging area. It's lovely seeing the sunlight after all this time because these windows are usually blocked. Moving fast, the guys are now back here in the 2 bedrooms with 1 window already in. Directly above is our back door and dining room window, which is looking gorgeous. With hardly a moment's rest for these 2, since we're in fast motion here, they head back downstairs for 3 more big-ass windows and carefully haul them up both flights of stairs to our bedroom. These 3 windows are the same as below. 2 of the windows are in our bedroom and overlook the street. The 3rd window is in our bathroom, just off the bedroom. And now that they've got the swing of it, the windows are going in pretty quickly. And with all 3 in on the front of the house, this is how it's going to look. It's pretty bright in here. Then it's onto our biggest window here in our daughter's bedroom. And next door in our guest bedroom where they've already got one in place. Each of the 2 lower windows tilts inward and also swings in so you can open it completely. As they're stripping the packing material, I can see that for these windows, they've put wooden stops in all four corners so that there's no way it can fall out as they move it into place. That makes me happy. The gaps will all be sealed with foam insulation to get every cranny. After 2 days of work, we've got 16 brand new Irish windows on all three sides of our house, and we're one big step farther in turning this 1881 Brooklyn townhouse into our modern family home. Next time we move outside as the weather breaks and the stucco crew begins to wrap the entire outside of our home in styrofoam insulation. See you then.